morning. It is Monday. How are you doing? Kirsten Liebelt. Good to see you guys. Jump in. Tell me where you are coming in from. I would love to know, and especially if you're on the replay, because sometimes it's crazy, very unexpected, like where people come in from. And it's really, really amazing. And I feel like that was kind of one of my epiphanies when, I decided to do anything online, and it was like, oh my stars, like you can be talking to somebody in Australia, Ireland. I'm in Minnesota. And actually, we have like 87-degree weather here today. It's going to be absolutely glorious. But then we will get snow probably tomorrow. So not quite. How are you doing? Good morning, Cheryl. How was your weekend? I would love to know how your weekend was. I had such an amazing weekend. I had my two grandsons sleep over on Friday night, and they are 3 and 2, sorry. And we just had a really good time. And then we went to a wedding and we did all of the things. So today, what I wanted to talk about very specifically is the GLP-1 conversation. And the reason why is just because, we don't know what we don't know, right? And GLP-1 injections have been used now for a very long time, actually, long before they hit mainstream marketing for, weight loss. And balloons on Instagram because I do things. Instagram is so funny. Anyway, and so they've been used for, see, Instagram hurts. Good, always unproductive, Cheryl. Well, maybe that wasn't such a bad thing. I mean, sometimes it's okay, right? Matt, good morning, Matt. How are you feeling? Good to see you. So GLP-1 has been used for a long time for people who are, type 2, etc., and very helpful for people who need to get their sugars down, etc. But now it's become like this constant conversation, and people now know about it. Thank you, sweetie. I actually think I'm good, but thank you. He's helping me plug in my computer. Now it's just a constant conversation because it's being marketed for people to help them, with weight loss and whatever. Well, I don't think we ever pause sometimes and ask the questions like, well, so what is GLP-1 and what is like, why do we, what does this even mean? And what is it doing? And how, all of these things. But did you know you can do stuff like this naturally? Like you can actually get your body to function. And I'm going to give you some ways to think about this today, from food to, supplementation to we can talk about this and actually give people hope. And it never dawned on me. I'm going to be super honest. So if you don't know who I am, I basically turned back around my own insulin resistance in my 40s. And the reason why this is such a big deal is because I grew up with an insulin dependent type 2 dad, and he died at 63. And so my whole life was really a lot of medical procedures, etc., and his health failing. In April of the year that he passed, his heart was down to 15%. And so I just watched this whole progression. Being Italian and having a lot of type 2 and obesity in my family, I just assumed that it was genetic. That's pretty much what I was told. So, que sera, sera, whatever happens, happens, right? And I just was not living a very aware life. I was not very in tune at all to my body or to the thought processes of, type 2, etc. So it wasn't until my upper 40s, about 10 years ago, that I decided to finally do something. And I did it very half-heartedly. I did it with fingers crossed. I did it with not even a lot of commitment. I did it without even changing out my foods right away. I was lame sauce committed. I was halfway committed. And it's just because I didn't really, I don't know. I didn't know a lot about it, and I didn't know that I could actually do something about it. So now that I find out that you can do things that are a little more natural, and at the very least support what you're doing so that you can eventually maybe get off of a script. Some people want that. I don't make those claims. I'm just saying that that's what some people want because they don't like the side effects, etc. And so as people do that, it just makes my heart super happy. I'm the only one, the results of what I've done are that I'm the only one in my family to have avoided type 2. And I'm 59 and I'm not on any meds. And I've lost 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped. And that's a really big conversation because everybody wants to lose weight. Everybody wants to lose weight, almost everybody. I talk to very few people, but some people that are insulin resistant, and they don't want to lose another pound because they really, for real, like they're too thin already. You do not have to be overweight. Thank you for sharing. Is it Raquel? I like that name, Raquel. I have not seen that for a long time. Thank you for sharing. I so appreciate you. You have no idea. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning, Magda. Matt says he's doing well. You're going to see your endocrinologist and see about using less to no more insulin. Matt, you're such a good advocate for yourself. Way to go. I'm so proud of you. I'm just so proud of everybody who becomes their own advocate. We can do this. So I actually thought that, if people were on different meds or choosing like a GLP-1 injection, that they were that they loved it. Like it was great results and they loved it. And it wasn't until I started talking to y'all in my inbox to find out that, oh no, there were side effects that you were not excited about. And that you had to or that one of them was she started the O in this one and she lost 10 pounds in a month. Super excited. Pharmacy could not refill because they ran out or whatever. And then she went off. And then when it came back in and she went back on again, she couldn't lose again. This is last fall. This happened last fall. And she was like, what the heck? Like, why is it not working for me? Tanya, thank you. Why is it not working for me? And so she then she went on the trio. Those are the 3 supplements that I talk about that help with insulin sensitivity. This is what I started 10 years ago, have supported me to lose 3 sizes. There are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. She does that, immediately loses 7 pounds in 2 weeks, and then went on to lose, I don't remember her total. But I'm telling you, so there are natural ways. And a lot of times people don't want the side effects. And I guess that never really dawned on me because I'm not on meds and I have not taken an injection. And so I didn't know this, to be really honest, about the constipation. Like if we're talking only this one, like the O, the W, the M, constipation and digestive issues, etc. Like I had no idea because I didn't understand what I'm going to read to you today about how things are working so that you can now match up natural thought processes for yourself, whether or not you do what I'm talking about in terms of doing like a 10-day gut reset or whatever, but just that you go away with understanding and knowledge for yourself that your body is so fearfully and wonderfully made. It actually already creates its own GLP-1. Because it's a hormone. So let's get into it. Patty, very good. Okay, yes, I will get you trio information, Patty. I will do that. I'll drop you a cart when I'm done. Good morning, Claudette. Good to see you. Oh, you guys, you make my Monday morning better. Monday. That's a song, right? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not missing out on anybody. Thank you so much, you guys on TikTok. I appreciate you so much. All right. This is kind of how this goes. And this is very, very interesting information because, again, sometimes we just don't, whatever. We just have conversations without the background information. So let's have the background information. So GLP-1, what is it? And why is everybody talking about it? And why is everybody getting the injection and all of these things? And why does it help us with weight loss and all of the stuff? So it is a hormone that is produced in your gut. It's literally produced in your gut. It's not the only hormone that's produced in your gut, but it's one of them. And this is why taking care of your gut is so important. And just as a note of announcement, we're starting the 10-day gut reset in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women tomorrow. So that's my housekeeping that I forgot to mention. Tomorrow, October 1 through 10, November 1 through 10, December 1 through 10. It's a 10-day gut reset. And if you need to know about that, I can tell you about that in a little bit, or you can reach out to me. But basically, it's using a gut primer and a probiotic. That's really what we're doing. And you're going to learn more about your gut, and you're going to sail through the holidays differently. Okay. And the testimonies that are coming from it, from people, heartburn and indigestion going away, and constipation going away, and not having to take over-the-counter help with that, and all sorts of good things, and helps when you take care of your gut. GLP-1. So it's a hormone that's produced in your gut that plays a critical role in glucose metabolism. This is why this is it's such an important conversation to have. Sorry, Instagram, I think you paused for a minute. It's such an important conversation to have in terms of insulin resistance. Okay? That's why the injections have been important for people to try to get down sugars, because this is a glucose conversation. So it plays a critical role in glucose metabolism and insulin regulation. So this is a very specific hormone. It is released after eating and stimulates insulin secretion while inhibiting glucagon release. It helps to lower blood sugar levels. Additionally, it slows. Now, this is where people are having issues with the when you're doing the actual shot, they're having issues with the side effects. It does naturally slow your gastric emptying, which promotes a feeling of fullness and can aid in weight management. It's also a target for certain medications used to treat type 2 diabetes and obesity, as these drugs mimic or enhance the effects of the hormone to improve blood sugar control and promote weight loss. So when you're doing the injection, I think that sometimes people are having issues with the slowing of the gastric emptying and kind of the paralysis of the stomach area, and that's causing digestive frustration. Maybe that's a good way to say that. But these are some of the things that you can actually do that are more natural. So hold on, let me see if I can find. Okay, so now what an injection actually does is, and you've heard it called, semaglutide, et cetera. So GLP-1, semaglutide, these are the things these are the buzzwords that everybody's talking about because, we want to lose weight, right? And I am 100% convinced, and I talk about it all the time. Women are sliding into their 40s. They are insulin resistant. It can be men too, Matt. It's not just women. It's just that my group is for women. But you're sliding into your 40s. You're insulin resistant, just like I was. You don't even know that insulin is a hormone, just like I didn't. You don't realize that when your insulin is high, you can't lose weight, just like I didn't know that. Like I didn't know any of this. You're insulin resistant and you can't lose weight, and you're like on this hamster wheel, and you're like, what in the world? Why are the old things not working for me? Why can't I count points anymore and drop weight? Why can't I just work out and do a bunch of cardio and drop weight? Why can't I just live in a calorie deficit like I used to be able to? And it's because it's an insulin conversation. It's a sugar insulin conversation, and it's not a calorie deficit only conversation. And it being an insulin conversation makes it a hormonal conversation. So obesity is a hormonal conversation, not a calorie in, calorie out conversation. Okay, so now here we are talking about GLP-1, another hormone, because your hormones run your universe. They tell you when you're full. They tell you when to eat. They are your receptors. They're doing everything. And we only think about hormones usually in terms of like sex hormones or reproductive hormones, but these are all like insulin is one, GLP-1, right? So this is how we can actually shift our world into like losing weight, burning fat, etc. Okay. Donna, absolutely. I will get you trio information. Matt, you might be the only guy. I have men customers. I do. Like I have, and they get really good results, but I'm just saying, usually it's the girls that I'm chatting with. Anyway, any hoodle. Okay. So a GLP-1 injection, improve insulin secretion, suppress glucagon, delay the gastric emptying, and reducing appetite. Okay. So what if you could do some of that naturally and help yourself out and then not have the side effects? Because it's not doing any paralysis to your stomach, etc. Other hormones that are created in the gut, just as a little side note, FYI, ghrelin or ghrelin, it's known as your hunger hormone. Oops, that jumped. It's known as your hunger hormone. And that is like, how frustrating is that if that one's not working? And that's created in your gut. Peptide YY, PYY, is released in response to eating, and it reduces appetite and slows gut motility. CCK stimulates, who knew these existed? I had not. Who knew these existed? CCK stimulates, it stands for cholecystokinin. stimulates the digestion of fat and protein and signals satiety to the brain. And then motilin regulates gut motility, helping move food through the digestive tract. So you can imagine that if your gut is messed up, which is a high probability, like we have so many gut issues. So many people are dealing with leaky gut and not absorbing nutrients. So many people are dealing with just digestive issues where you eat certain things and you're just in pain, or you're in just discomfort, so much bloating and just frustration with that. So Sharon, what do you mean? Why are you saying, why are your sugars high in the morning? Why does that happen to people? Is that what you're asking? Because yes, that is very common. When people have high sugars in the morning, that's called Dawn phenomenon. And it is a kind of a pickle, right? Like, it's frustrating that that happens because you're just not ever coming down. It's just never coming down. And so now you have them high in the morning, even though you haven't eaten. And they can take, like Dr. Eric Berg will say, that it can take you about up to a year to get your Dawn phenomenon under control. I will say, though, that with the trio, the 3 supplements I talk about, I have excellent conversations with people who, that for them, and it's not always, because I don't make claims or anything, but for them, that was the first thing that happened for them, was that they dropped 30 points in the morning. And it was a really big deal. Because again, you can lift up the hood of your vehicle and get your body to function at a different level. You can actually do that. And we'll talk about that. But let's go back now and talk about, what can you do? Like, what are some of the foods that you can eat to increase your GLP-1 naturally? What are some of the supplementation that you can do? Like, there are things you can do, and I want you to know about it. So let's talk about foods. Number 1, several foods can actually help naturally boost your GLP-1 production. Well, I had no idea that was true. I had no idea that you could literally increase that production naturally by eating certain foods. But now it makes sense to me, like why we're told to eat certain things. So number 1 is fermented foods. Kimchi, sauerkraut, and yogurt support gut health, promoting beneficial bacteria that may help increase GLP-1 secretion. Now, with yogurt, I always tell people, because we talk about food in the group. The group is Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And we do a 5-day challenge every month. The next one is October 14th, and it's our 17th one. Okay. So we talk about ingredient trade-outs. And when it comes to like dairy, like that yogurt, number 1, get a really good full-fat, plain yogurt, like a Greek yogurt, like a Fage. Fage, Fage. It's such a good yogurt, creamy, yummy. You can get it at Costco. Get it plain and then sweeten it with like a liquid stevia and maybe some cinnamon, maybe some berries, etc. Right? Do it yourself, because they're, number 1, oftentimes when they're marketing these good yogurts, if they're putting sugar in there, you're literally throwing your money away and probably making the issue worse. Like, don't do that. Do it the right way, where you're getting the really good beneficial bacteria from a really good Greek yogurt that's nice and high in protein as well. So fermented foods, high fiber foods, protein-rich foods like eggs, fish, lean meats. And I don't even know that they put in lean meats because that's the whatever. It doesn't have to be a lean meat to have it be protein-rich and help your GLP-1 release, and then improve your feelings of fullness after meals, because protein makes you feel very satiated. Okay, it's filling your tummy. Gloria, good morning, Gloria. Good to see you. Green leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, broccoli, they are high in fiber, and they support the healthy gut function and may enhance the GLP-1 levels. And then healthy fats. Avocados, olive oil, and nuts contain healthy fats that can slow digestion, promote the release of GLP-1, and improve satiety. So fermented foods, high fiber, protein, rich, green leafy vegetables, and healthy fats. So those are things that you can just do naturally. That's why we're told to eat these things. And what happens is, last week, if you go back to any of the content that we created last week, when we were going live, and we were talking about this nutrition roundtable that took place about a week ago. And I have not watched the whole thing. It's like 4.5 hours long. You can find it on YouTube or on Rumble. And it was put out by Senator Ron Johnson. I don't even know what state he's a senator from. I don't know anything about him, but he did this nutrition roundtable. One of the people was Jillian Michaels. Y'all know Jillian Michaels, right? The Biggest Loser, and like, she's been a fitness guru all of these years. Most people know who she is. She's probably right around my age. And she is talking about how as a child, she would come home from school and she would binge on Oreos and Cheetos. And then her family would eat like Kentucky Fried Chicken because they just ate a lot of fast food. And then she said, in about 13 years old, she was obese. And at night, she would be despondent and depressed. And they took her to a doctor, and the doctor's answer was, and this is our age. I'm 59. So if you're in my age range, this is us. This was the beginning of when this all started to happen, was when we were adolescents. Okay. Because their answer was, how about Ritalin and or Prozac? That was their answer to her. Can you fathom that this has happened that long ago? If I'm 59, so that would have been over 40 years ago. This was the beginning of those answers that they were giving. It's shocking to me. It's very shocking. And so when you are eating like that, and when you are then obese and you're messing up your gut and you are not feeling good and now you're despondent and whatever, she has a really great story how she started martial arts, turned her life around, became the fitness guru that she is, and made such a difference in how she was functioning, etc. But the truth is that those meds, had she been put on those, would have further ruined her gut, which would have further ruined her GLP-1 naturally. I mean, you see what's happening? So what happens is our gut, whether we are eating processed foods, ultra processed foods that are filled with chemicals, food dyes, additives, preservatives, and seed oils, those are wrecking our insides. So we are recommended fermented foods, high fiber foods, protein-rich foods, green leafy vegetables, healthy fats. A lot of us don't do that because of habit, routine, all that stuff, right? Addiction, because those foods are created to be addictive. And so we don't do that. But then also, too, we don't maybe consider the fact that if we're taking over-the-counter pain meds, or we're on prescription meds, or there are all of these things, or we are insulin resistant. Insulin resistance leads to leaky gut. So here we are, a bunch of insulin resistant people running around wondering, I wonder if my gut's messed up, or maybe we're not even asking that question, but we should be asking that question, because that's where your GLP-1 is created, in your gut. And it's a hormone that is helping to regulate the glucose in your body and to regulate your insulin. That's why, I mean, honestly, just think about this for a second. If you have doctors that are not telling you that it's your gut, and they're just giving you an injection thought process to up your GLP-1, nobody's telling you change the way you're eating. Nobody's telling you you could be supplementing your way through this. Nobody's going to tell you that because they have an injection for $1,200. That's what's happening. So Hattie says, nothing has really changed in the health committee because they are still prescribing drugs to kids. I know. Telling women to take drugs for diabetes, and the nutritionists are still using the food pyramid. It's really painful. It just ticks me off. It really does. It just gets me going. Kim, hey, what about healthy carbs? I read carbs are necessary for healthy hormones. That's not true. I'm not a doctor. No, that's not true. You don't have to have carbs for healthy hormones. If that were true, then breast milk would have carbs in it for babies. But that's not how that works. It really is. Carbs are the one macronutrient that you actually don't have to have. They're the one. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to, but it's an incorrect thought process as to why to eat carbs. So, and besides, carbs are pretty much in stuff anyway. So you could eat onions with your burger and you're getting carbs. You're getting carbs in your onions and in your garlic, and there are carbs in all sorts of foods that we don't think about, right? And again, God didn't make bad food. This is not about demonizing food. It's not. I'm aware God made everything perfect. We messed it up. We messed it up. So now we have to turn it around. We have lived this life of massive overconsumption of carbohydrates for decades. Think about Jillian Michaels, 13 years old, binging on Cheetos and Oreos and eating KFC because it was the dawn of a new hour. Mama, you go to work and no problem. We got you. We got you. We got that bucket ready for you. And home meals started to go out the window. And so when that happened, and now we started this obesity in our children because of ultra processed foods, we just are now in a pickle. And even last week when I was talking about that, the notes that I took off of that one segment, 10% of the United States population was obese in 1974. Now we are 75%. This is a really, really, really big issue. It's a really big issue. And so again, I want to stay on that connection though of how we're eating and what's happening to our gut and how it is messing up the hormones in the gut. Let's talk about just the two hormones, the GLP-1, which helps to regulate your sugars and your insulin, which everybody wants. Everybody's starting to understand because of the marketing of the GLP-1 injections, the semaglutide, because of that, we are actually having this conversation and people are understanding it better. They're like, oh yeah, because sugars and insulin. I mean, you still might not know exactly how that all works. That's okay. But now we're having the conversation. And there are a lot of people that go, well, I'm not going to pay $1,200 a month. Like I can't afford that. Or some people are going, oh my gosh, I'm on it and I don't like the side effects. And some people are like, okay, I'm on it, but I don't want to be on it forever. And no matter what the conversation is, at least we're having it. And for that, I'm internally grateful. Because listen, I watched my dad's health go so far down so fast. And you just don't live a very full life if you feel like crap every day. And he did not feel good. Okay. So insulin resistance, we can talk about it in a fairly like monotone conversation or one-dimensional conversation, but it just leads to a lot of mess and a lot of money that now has to leave your resources so that you can actually take care of what's going on, whether you need over-the-counter help or whatever it is. Now all of a sudden it costs a lot of money to now manage all of these diseases one way or the other, but you can completely avoid it because this is reversible. So, okay, I know I'm missing stuff over there. Sorry about that. Sorry. It's just the way that it goes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yay. All right. So let's keep on going now. Those were the foods that can very much help. Now let's just talk about how, other things that can help. One of them is inulin. Inulin is a prebiotic fiber and it supports gut health, which in turn enhances the GLP-1 production. I actually have inulin. I have a prebiotic. I don't think I have inulin in here. Let me see if I've got prebiotic. Okay. Nope. Not in there. I have when I'm talking about the gut reset that we're doing for 10 days in October, November, December, the probiotic that I take, it has 5 strains. Because I tell you, grab the gut primer. You can get 3 resets out of one gut primer, and then pick a probiotic. The probiotic that I use has inulin in it, a prebiotic, and then 5 strains. Okay, so inulin. Let's see how many things I'm actually taking that I didn't realize were helping. Curcumin. This antioxidant can boost GLP-1 production. It has anti-inflammatory effects. That's my turmeric that I take. Fantastic turmeric. If you need a good turmeric, 45 times more absorbable than an average one. Like, it's amazing. So curcumin is in here. So I'm doing that. I didn't even know some of this. EGCG. Now this one is really fun because EGCG, when we talk about the trio, you guys, any one of you that, if you're already on the trio, let me tell you how you're already helping your GLP-1. This particular one that you guys, because it's 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. This one right here, the smallest one that you take twice a day, this is actually an EGCG extract, and that helps with GLP-1 and weight management. So that's one of the reasons why this works so well. And then they're saying resveratrol. I don't have any of that. Known for its anti-inflammatory properties, it has been linked to improve GLP-1 and berberine. So any of you that are already taking berberine, I do not have that in my line. I've actually never taken it just because it wasn't being talked about 10 years ago when I started this. So I've just never tried it. I've never, whatever. And I have had some people who've been on berberine and it wasn't enough for them. Like, I had somebody come to me and she was on berberine and inositol, and she got her A1C way down, but for 3 years could not drop a pound. Just could not drop a pound. So for whatever reason, it wasn't enough for her. So she started the trio, and within 2.5 months, she brought her morning sugars down 30 points and lost 14 pounds. So sometimes you just need extra different pieces to your puzzle, because everybody's puzzle needs a little bit different layer of help. So those are the 5 things that are that can help you: inulin, the prebiotic fiber, curcumin in your turmeric. So I'm taking that one. EGCG, I'm taking that in the trio. And then I don't have resveratrol or berberine. But those are 5 things that could help you. And then let's see here. What else is there? So gut. Okay. So when you support your gut health with a primer, and that's what we're talking about for the 10-day. So this is the gut primer. You'll get 3 resets out of this one container. When you improve your gut health, a healthy gut microbiome supported by probiotics enhances the overall function of the digestive system. Certain gut bacteria play a role in stimulating GLP-1 secretion, which can improve insulin sensitivity and glucose regulation. Isn't that good to know? Like, that just gets me very excited to know that if I'm taking care of my gut, like, I can actually improve my insulin sensitivity and my glucose regulation. Okay. It enhances your nutrient absorption by using a primer like this, which can indirectly enhance the production of hormones like GLP-1. And then it increases GLP-1 secretion. Prebiotics and probiotics. My nose is itching. Prebiotics and probiotics can increase the secretion of GLP-1 by promoting the growth of beneficial gut bacteria that help regulate the gut-brain signaling. This can lead to better blood sugar control, enhanced satiety, fullness, and improved weight management, and reduced inflammation. An unhealthy gut is often inflamed, which can impair GLP-1 signaling. By restoring gut balance with a primer and probiotic, you reduce inflammation, thereby allowing GLP-1 to function more effectively. So I just like, it just excites me. Okay. So your body's natural ability to regulate appetite and blood sugar, contributing to better metabolic health through GLP-1, is by optimizing your gut health. Like, it's all freaking connected. And I think that we all kind of know that a little more all the time. Like, these conversations, you guys, are becoming so normal now. How good is that? That people are not confused about, I mean, there can be confusion and noise around the conversation because there's a lot of information, but there's a streamlined thought process. When I started back 10 years ago, I supplemented just to keep my mom quiet because she wouldn't leave me alone about my sugars. So I teach 2 things. I teach targeted supplements for insulin resistance. I went from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. Bringing down my insulin allowed me to lose weight. I've lost 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped just by doing this. And then number 2, I learned how to trade out my ingredients. That's what I get to teach in the group. So the group is Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. But every month when we do our 5-day challenge and I talk about ingredient trade outs, I do a pantry and a fridge reveal. My pantry and fridge are right there. Like, I can show you guys how I've changed the ways that I do things, because for me, it was a really big deal because I'm Italian and I never thought that I would be able to trade things out, but I did. And I just want you to know it's possible and you can do it and have long-term results. You can do things without side effects and with long-term results because you learn how to fish. I'm so not interested in throwing people Band-Aids. I'm just so not interested in it. What I did for myself is the greatest gift that I ever gave myself, my entire life. It's the greatest gift that I gave me. I took a journey in my own head. I always say it like me and Jesus took this journey, and I actually assessed my emotional connections to food. I actually allowed myself all of the social settings and graces and all of the things. I was using carb blocker for that. You can always ask me about that. But I used carb blocker for 3 years while I was changing out my ingredients. I didn't have video like this. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I didn't tell anybody what was going on in my head. I just did my own assessing. I did my own, why did that make me feel that way? Whatever, right? I did all of that. And that's what I get to teach now. And it is such a blessing, because if 10 years from now, somebody can come back to me and say, because you taught me how to fish, I actually felt like I had a key to my weight management. I actually had a key to stay off of certain scripts. I actually had a key to never go on those scripts. I actually had a key, because I'm convinced that if anybody's connected to me in my content, you either suspect or you're insulin resistant. And if you're insulin resistant, it can be turned around naturally because it's not a terminal diagnosis. Oh, you got to hear that. You got to hear that. It's not a terminal diagnosis. This is turnaroundable. And you can get your body to function. Your body knows what to do. It knows what to do. It just needs support to do it. Just because we messed it up a little bit or a lot of it, depending upon who you are. Jody, yes, I will get you that. I'll get you the trio information. Carla! Hi, Kirsten and everyone. Me gifting me too. I know, Carla. I love it so much. Gift yourself. So Cheryl says, happy Monday, Bethany. Good to see you too. Oh, how fun. You and your mom are both here. So you stopped type 2 scripts. Your levels are lower. Your script raises your insulin. You stopped it as soon as you found it out that it raised your insulin. Why was I prescribed it? That's an excellent question, Cheryl. Excellent question. You would like to know how to get your hands on the can. Are you talking about the gut primer, Claudette? Are you talking about wanting to get on the gut primer? No, you're on the gut primer. What do you want to get your hands on, Claudette? You let me know, because you're already doing the gut primer. And I love your testimony. Can this improve estrogen dominance as well, which may contribute to weight loss resistance? So I will tell you, curcumin, that's the turmeric, Claudette. So on my site, just put in turmeric. And that is, curcumin is it's the cannabinoids of whatever. Curcumin is turmeric. It's the active ingredient inside of turmeric. And what's even more beautiful about that turmeric, Claudette, is that it has fenugreek in it. And fenugreek is another layer of helping for your sugars, just to let you know. And and it's anti-inflammatory and fantastic. So when you help, so your liver will dump bad estrogen, and your liver will actually also dump cortisol. Excess cortisol. And so taking care of your liver, I should probably do a live just on the liver. So when I talk about the trio, one of these is for your liver. So, like, surprise, surprise, that here we've got some EGCG that is helping your GLP-1. We've got liver help. And then we have trace minerals to help with insulin and sugars to come down. And there's also some herbs in here that help with appetite control and sugar cravings. So what happens is I will hear people tell me things like, wow, the food noise has really simmered down. I can actually think straight. I'm not freaking out about snacking at night. No, obviously everybody's got their own triggers, but it calms food noise. But this is all natural without any side effects. I'm just saying, and it doesn't cost $1,200 a month. So there are natural ways, but the liver, love your liver if you're trying to help your estrogen dominance. Love your liver. And even if you only wanted the liver product, you can do that. I have somebody who, so she had blood tests and her liver numbers were high, and she reached out to me and she said, what do you have? And I said, this is what I have. I have this liver product. She goes, okay, perfect. And within 45 days, she was able to cut her numbers in half. That's how potent this one is. It's very good for your liver. So women, if all I ever told you was that your liver is your fat metabolizing organ, and that if your liver is tired and toxic, you can't lose fat, if that's all I ever told you, you would take care of your liver. Because you'd be like, is that maybe a piece of my puzzle why I'm not metabolizing fat? I'm going to take something for my liver. Because we all want that. We all want the help. Well, go into the core of the conversation. Your gut, your pancreas, like your liver, it's all connected. It's all working together, and we just don't take care of our engine. And so we keep on doing things from the outside, thinking that we're supposed to count points or that we're supposed to like work out faster, harder. And it's a hormonal conversation. And so sometimes the points then, because they're not taking insulin resistance into account, and insulin is a hormone, if they're not doing that, then it can be working against us. So what worked in our 30s now isn't working in our 40s and in our 50s. Does that make sense? I hope that does. Yes, Claudette. You got here late. Carol, you're fine. You're good, Carol. Replay. You can always watch the replay. She's like, darn it, I'm late. You're good. What else did I miss? You're welcome. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for answering, she says. You're welcome. Anna, good to see you. Good to see you, Anna. You'll watch the replay. Yes. So you were started on MET. You were on it for 30 days, and it was not kind to my system. You changed to, I have not heard that one, REPAGLINIDE, 5 milligrams with a meal and of at least 15 carbs. That's high carbs though for a meal. I mean, I know they tell you 15 or 50, Cheryl, because I've heard people say that, Anna, you're beautiful. I've heard people say that their diabetic nutritionist will tell them they can have up to 50 a meal. Please don't do that, you guys. I'm sorry, they're giving you trash information. Trash. That's why I love listening to Maria Emmerich, and I love her ingredient trade outs, number one, because she's very creative. And number two, I really like what she teaches in terms of proportions. She does have a free macro calculator for anybody who wants a macro calculator, but she's going to teach high protein, moderate, really good fat, and then very low carbs, like 20 to 30 a day or less, not counting net carb, not doing the net carb BS. Don't do that. Like, stop trying to cut corners so that you can actually get results. Because I'm telling you, it is the number one main reason why during my 5-day challenge, I do a pantry and a fridge reveal, for as boring as I think it is, because but it's just taking the basics and I create the food that I love out of those basics. And the reason why that is so important is because, when you have 30 to 45 carbs per meal. Terrible advice. Terrible advice. And that's why I don't like systems that tell you you can still eat whatever you want. Here, just take this pill or just take this pouch or just take this whatever. Just keep eating the way you want to keep eating. And then you never learn how to fish. And then you're dependent forever on somebody else's answer. And you never have answers for yourself. I don't like that advice. It's just not my core value. I have a core value of teaching women how to do this without shame because, excuse me, we have a lot of emotional connections to food. And I understand that really well being Italian. And then also too, another core value of mine is teaching you how to, when you trade out your basic ingredients in your fridge and in your pantry, then you can create all the foods that you love. And you don't have to listen to that kind of trash advice that tells you can have 30 to 45 carbs per meal as a type 2. That should like not even be allowed that they tell you that. And what was it that we learned last week in the, when I was taking notes about the American Diabetes Association? I was taking notes on the nutrition roundtable. And this was one of the things that really bothered me quite a bit. And this one was from Casey Means, who is that surgeon from Stanford that decided that she was going to just quit, even though she had already gone through all that schooling and spent all that money. But she wanted to get to the core. And that's another piece of my puzzle is no shame, teach you to fish, and let's get to the core of what's going on inside of your body. Like, let's fix this from the inside out. And then teach you how to like live your life and make more memories and feel better. But she says that the American Diabetes Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics have taken tens of millions of dollars from Coke, Cadbury, processed food companies, and V companies like the one that starts with M. This is a very, very, very big problem. Because if these are the people that have the conflicts of interest and they're creating our food pyramid, or they're creating the curriculum that your nutritionist, Cheryl, is giving you that advice from. So think about that. The American Diabetes Association and their information that creates the information that we get from our providers, potentially, I'm assuming that's a river that flows that way. We get that information from them, and then they tell us we can have 30 to 45 grams of carbs per meal as a type 2. That is trash information. You will be medicated for the rest of your life. That's option A, according to them, and they hope you stay there. I'm just telling you, it's just real. It's wicked. It's wicked advice. Okay. Yeah. Really dumb. So that's why I get so excited. That's why I get so passionate, because I'm like, oh, come on, you guys, come on. If I could just pull you along a little further to get you to go, I'm not going to take that advice anymore. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to take back my body. I'm going to make sure that I actually don't have to be medicated forever and live on these side effects. I don't want to be medicated forever and not feel good. It is such a, it's such a big deal for me that you don't live the way that my dad was living with his lazy Susan full of meds. And if you don't have to do it, there's a lot I can't control. There's a lot that I can't have a conversation about. I would never come on here and have an intelligent conversation with you about CANCER. I would never do that. I'm not a doctor, and that requires a team of people and probably a lot of meds that I know nothing about for sure. But I can talk to you about insulin resistance, which is not a terminal diagnosis, and you can take back your body. And sometimes the number one piece of advice I can give you is to stop listening to the recommendations that they're giving you from your provider. I don't mean about the meds that you're taking. You've got to listen. You got to make your own decisions on that. That's got to be your own universe, right? Because that's not my wheelhouse. You have got to do your own stuff. You have to be your own assessor of your own glucose levels to know where you are. You have to be your own assessor of your own BP. And I've had a customer get off of 2 BP meds this summer. You have to be your own assessor, okay? But when it comes to the food, That's where I'm like, stop listening to what they're telling you. This is ridiculous. Go and listen to a Maria Emmerich. Go and listen to a Dr. Ken Berry. Go and listen to somebody else who's going to tell you that, listen, you're going to have to tamp that down way further than what they're telling you if you actually want to get results. Their goal is to keep you medicated. Maria Emmerich's goal is to have you turn it around. My goal is to have you turn it around. Dr. Ken Berry's goal is to have you turn it around. Do you understand? Like a horse in the race. Because we're not being manipulated by big PHARMA, right? We're not being manipulated by anybody because we're just chatting. I'm just chatting. You believe it, Nana Banana. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Where do I listen to her at? Are you talking about Maria Emmerich? Maria Emmerich, so she probably has YouTube for sure. I started paying attention to her ingredient trade outs. Like I have a lot of her cookbooks, but she has 1,000 free recipes online. And she also has a free macro calculator. And you can put in your own information and find out how much protein, because you want high protein, then you want moderate, really good fat, and then you want very low carbs. Way low. 20 to 30 a day or less. And not net. Full on. And I know that sounds hard, but the minute you begin to actually eat high protein and good fats, you are full and satiated. And now you're dealing a lot more with this up here. This is the hard part. I always tell people, I got to put my top on here, otherwise I'm going to spill things. This is easy. Getting in a supplement routine is easy. This is harder because it's your mindset. It's your mindset. Ask your doctor for insulin resistance, and the doctor said, I don't have diabetes, so you don't need it. Oh, Betsy. Sorry. So I'll quickly explain that, and then I do have an appointment coming up here soon. So I will give you all of my my housekeeping here, so that you know what's available to you for free. Okay. Glucose in the blood is generally the only test that they will give you. But prior to having glucose that is high in your blood, you have insulin, the hormone, and you can be insulin resistant for years before it shows up over here. Years, decades. And so they're not pulling a fasting insulin test. And the fasting your insulin is a hormone that helps to regulate. It helps to gobble, 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 take your sugar and put it into your cell for fuel. But over time, your cell says no more, and it closes the doors. And so now your fat cell is resistant to insulin. That's where that comes from. Insulin resistant. Okay? So now what happens is when it gets the sugar, anything you eat turns to sugar. That's not a bad thing. That's a normal thing. You can eat a steak and it's still going to turn into glucose because that's the fuel that your body prefers. But after a while, when it tries to get it into the cell and it can't do that anymore, your insulin keeps on rising because your pancreas thinks it needs to release more to get it into the cell. And when it can't, you're exhausted because your cell did not take in energy, and your insulin is going to now take all of that and store it as fat. It's going to put it on your arms, your back, and on your belly, and it's just going to distribute it around your body because it's a fat-storing hormone. But in the meantime, it can't keep up. So your sugars rise. Well, they could have done something about it over here, and they don't. And it's very frustrating, and it's very sad. It's really sad. So getting a fasting insulin could tell you more much earlier. And even earlier than that, there is another test. I don't remember the name of it, and it's not common, and it's not something that I really know about. I just know from listening to Dr. Ben Bickman that there is another test that can actually test your visceral fat, the fat that's around your belly, it's around your organs, your liver and your pancreas and your intestines. We get this visceral fat that's very dangerous. It actually is, it's an active metabolic fat that releases inflammation, and it's a problem. It's concerning. However, you could do a test on that, something like that, and you could find out even earlier. So this is the sugar one is the last one. It's very frustrating. You're gaining weight so quickly. And sugar, when you have high sugars and insulin, you can't lose weight. And that's why I'm convinced. That's why I know that this is where, when I started taking the trio, I didn't even understand how many layers of goodness this was doing for my body, because this was 10 years ago and I knew nothing. I was just taking it to appease my mom, because my dad died of type 2 when I was 30 and he was only 63. So I start taking this, and this has fully supported me to lose 3 sizes in my 50s. See, that's my alarm for my meeting. So the trio has helped me to do exactly what you're talking about. And you can always reach out to me. So the TikTok, you actually have to like go over to Instagram and get into my inbox, or you can go to my profile up here, and you can, there's a number, and there is my site. So if you want just a little 2-minute video trio on button number 2, there is a 2-minute video, there's a cart, and there are testimonies. But there's also a phone number, and you can text me. Instagram, you can always get into my inbox. Facebook, you can always either drop comments because they'll stay there, or you can get into my messenger. And I will talk to anybody that wants to have a conversation about the trio, about the gut reset that we're doing October, November, December. If you haven't already picked up your primer and your probiotics so that you're good to go, you can get 3 resets out of this. Take a probiotic the whole 30 days. And I'm just telling you, the bloating, the indigestion, the constipation, the weight loss, these are 4 things that I talk to people about this weekend alone because of that protocol, this weekend alone. So I'm just telling you, good stuff. So the group is called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And if you are looking for a way to have a different track to run on for the last 3 months of the year, as you're going through the holidays, a time where it can feel very overwhelming to maybe navigate social settings, to navigate just not feeling good sometimes, to navigate actually wanting to, sometimes we'll even say things like this: if all I do is just stay the same weight, I'll be happy. Well, I had somebody last year over Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's using the trio. She lost 25 pounds. So there are different ways that you can do things. And in the group, Jen O'Malley, thank you so much. Hi, Jen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're amazing. In the group, when I do the challenges, the next one is October 14th, and then there will be one in November, and then there will be one in December. It's like our 17th one is next month. It starts October's tomorrow, you guys. I do like a recipe. So like last year at this time, I was teaching the pumpkin roll recipe, and that's a recipe then that you can make and bring to your social settings, or you can have it available in your home to when if you're hosting something, and then you have something available for you. Why not learn just one recipe to put into your repertoire, one ingredient trade out? Just like take this season, and instead of just throwing it all down the toilet and flushing it, take the season and go, I'm going to do this season. It may not be perfect, but it's going to be better than I've ever done. The 90 days of craziness, where we want to drink a pumpkin spice latte every single day, and we want to be eating pumpkin scones and candy for Halloween and all of the mashed potatoes and everything for Thanksgiving and every Christmas party and like we go crazy, and then we don't stop, and then we hit January 1st and we're so addicted, and we're so kind of like off track that our willpower is for about 12 hours because we have not set ourselves up. But you can have a completely different thought process with your sugars, with your insulin, with your appetite, with your sugar cravings, with your gut, with your metabolism, with like you can have a completely different thought process, and then learn how to fish at the same time. Learn how to fish, learn how to change out your pantry and your fridge and have hope that you can do things differently. And tonight, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, I'm doing the second session of, here's my book, the second installment of Self-Sabotage No More. I did not write this book. You can just get it off of Amazon. You don't even have to buy it if you don't want to. I'm just going through this in the group, 8 p.m. on Monday night, Central Standard Time, because I want you to change what's going to probably make the biggest difference for you. And that's your mindset. You got to change things up here, but you can. You can. If I can do it as an Italian girl who was the poster child of addiction to sugar and emotional connections to food, you can too. You can too. I promise you. Carol, in the group, go up to the search bar and just put in pumpkin roll. And I have a video tutorial on the pumpkin roll. Yes, Cheryl. She was talking about the tests that are good. Fasting insulin, C-peptide, and HOMA-IR. I think that was the one. The HOMA-IR. I think that's the one. Oh, the adipose-IR. That's what it was, Magda. Oh, you guys are good. You guys are helpful. You're welcome, Carol. That is an excellent recipe. Now, I don't make up the recipes, you guys. I don't take any credit for them. I just find them and make them because I know what I need to do for myself. So love how you teach people. Your knowledge is awesome. Jen, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. You just have no idea. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the TikTok channel and just loving it up like that. I appreciate it. It gets more information out. Pumpkin roll. Yep. The Kim, I'm trying to remember. So it's in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And I'm not positive where that one came from. It might have come from All Day I Dream About Food blog. It might have been. So, all right. Okay. I'm going to move on tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time right here. We'll do another live tonight at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. We're going to do a short, it'll be 30 minutes or less. I just want to be able to go over information and then you can apply it in your own life about stopping your own self-sabotage. This is the best time for you to do that while you're going into the holiday season. The best time. And the book is skinny and it's probably cheap. And it's not mine. It's Jenny Potter, Jennie Potter. All right. Have a wonderful day. Ta-ta, people. Have a beautiful day. See you later. Love you guys.